Great questions, great questions. And before, we will talk about the ending in 1 second. The movie's obviously been good for your career. Is it something you can share in terms of what's next for Mark Webb? Is that public or no?
Yeah, that's public now.
So,
Yeah, he's
so
doing
the
another little movie.
The director of 500 Days of Summer, his first movie,
Yeah.
has now been hired to do another small independent movie. What's the name of it?
Well, I don't know what the name of it is, but it's the Ultimate Spider-Man movie. So like the new one that they're doing. So they'll make it for more than $7 million.
Just a little bit more than that. So
It's going to be great. It's going to be 3D, and it's going to be pretty intense.
That's going to be great. Well, let's talk about the ending since our last question talked about that. One of the non-conventional techniques you use is it didn't have that perfect resolution that a lot of people come to expect in a romantic comedy. The boy finds girl, boy falls in love, boy gets girl. And in some ways, it's depending on how you interpret it, it still may be the right resolution, as you said. So let's talk about that. What was sort of your vision for that scene when summer ends and autumn begins?
What was my vision?
Yeah.
At least he has closure. We don't know if it's happy or sad. We don't know if he is going to screw it up again. But this was the only way, really, like, even now when I think back on it, like, I don't know how else you end it. And it was the only way to sort of express, well, at least the summer effect is over. Webb talks about it as summer was never really a character or a person or any of that stuff. It's just a phase of your life that everybody kind of has. And you've been one or you have had one in your life. And this was a way to sort of express cinematically that he's moving on, for better or for worse.
It was a perfectly clean ending for me. Let's show it.
Most days of the year are unremarkable. They begin and they end, with no lasting memories made in between. Most days have no impact on the course of a life. May 23rd was a Wednesday.
Are you interviewing?
Sorry?
Are you interviewing for the position?
Oh, yeah. Why are you?
Yeah.
My competition.
It would appear.
Yeah, so... a little awkward.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you, don't get the job.
Well, I hope you don't get the job. Have I seen you before?
Me? I don't think so.
Do you ever go to Angeles Plaza?
Yes. That's like my favorite spot in the city.
Okay, except for the parking lots, but...
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think I've seen you there.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't seen you.
You must not have been looking.
If Tom had learned anything, it was that you can't ascribe great cosmic significance to a simple earthly event. Coincidence. That's all anything ever is. Nothing more than coincidence.
Tom Hansen,
Yeah.
come on back.
Thank you.
Tom had finally learned there are no miracles. There's no such thing as fate. Nothing is meant to be. He knew. He was sure of it now. Tom was...
Sorry, I just left, can I... 1 second.
He was pretty sure.
Hey.
You again?
Yeah. I, was just wondering if maybe after this, if, you want to get some coffee or something.
I'm sorry, I'm sort of supposed to meet someone after this.
Okay.
Sure.
What's that?
Why not?
Okay, well then I'll just, I'll wait for you.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. My name's Tom.
Nice to meet you. I'm Autumn.
so everyone's asked about it, let's meet the real-life Autumn. Please welcome Scott's fiance, Lauren Levy. Lauren, come on up. Have a seat here, Lauren. Is this working? Perfect. Here's your mic. Lauren,
Are you going to tell embarrassing stories now?
well,
That's good.
you have no idea what's coming. But Lauren is not just Scott's fiance. She is a successful creative executive in her own right. She used to be with Miramax, and now she's moving on to Fox. I thought maybe you could share just maybe a little flavor, a little story of maybe how you guys met.
So it's a good story, but we tell it sort of differently. Hi, everybody. It's silly that I'm sitting up here with you, but thank you for inviting me. So we actually met, for those of you who are film students, we met in a general meeting. And it was, I read the script, so did my male colleague.
Yeah, that's how I roll.
So I read the script and loved it, and so did my male colleague. So we invited Scott in for a meeting, and Scott's writing partner, Weber, was on the phone. So you've got the guy on the box and the guy in the room. And we have this meeting, and I'm in work mode, and I'm not thinking about anything. And so, we have a great meeting, say goodbye. A couple hours later, I get the email that you always get after a meeting, which is from him to me and my male colleague,
I was making a move.
saying, thanks so much for the meeting, great getting to sit down with you guys, stay in touch. My male colleague writes back.
But you read it wrong. It was like,
Two versions.
Stay in touch. It was definitely like, there was more to the email than you just said.
So within moments of getting the email, my male colleague, who's very on top of his inbox, unlike me, responds, and he replies all, and he says, great meeting you too, stay in touch, Mike and Lauren. So I'm done. I don't need to write back to him. How did you interpret that?
Well, the guy wrote back, so there was that was cool.
So it was like out and out rejection for Scott.
Yeah.
Nothing happened.
You could have opened the door like a little bit, and by writing back, and then I was gonna run through the door. Then I was gonna dive through the door, but yeah, he wrote back, and so you shut the door, and you know what? 6 months later, you finally wrote me back.
So 6 months later, I run into Scott at a party, and it was like I did not have my work goggles on. I had my Saturday night goggles on, and I was like, oh, he's really cute.
I look good. Those Saturday night.
He looked
goggles.
good.
That's where I shine.
So I might have had a cocktail or three, and
That's the secret about the goggles. That's what that was.
and then I said, of course, I've got his email address in my contacts because I did put it into my contacts after the meeting, and though not for personal reasons, admittedly. But then I find it, and I email him at 2:00 in the morning, and I said, it was great running into you. We should hang out sometime. He writes back a half an hour later, and he's like, yeah, now this is an amazing response for a writer. Yeah, I don't cook, so I'm pretty much free anytime.
Accurate.
Amazing.
I like to be accurate in my email response.
So
You read that one wrong too, by the way.
So then, well, of course, we do actually have the written emails, so everything that I'm saying, this is fact. But, so then we wind up, the next morning, I just had like enough of the 2 a.m. emailing because it's dangerous at that point. I'm like, all right, he said yes, we're done, I'm going to sleep. I wake up sober, and I was like, oh God. I work at a studio, and he's a writer, and I basically just asked him out at 2:00 in the morning, and this poor guy, like he probably doesn't want to go out with me, so I gotta backtrack now. So he had said, when should we get together? And I said, how about Tuesday?
Which to me was like, it's a work thing. It's Tuesday.
And to me, I was like, this poor guy, I don't want him to, if I was like Friday and he didn't want to go out with me, how uncomfortable would that be? So we go to dinner, and we had a really kind of a funny dinner. We had a great dinner. We closed down the restaurant. The waitress is ready to leave, so she brings the check and she puts it between us, and it just sits there. And so did it just sit there?
I was always going to pay.
Right.
When you reach
check.
for here's my feeling, is like when you reach for the check in the middle of like a thing, the signal is like, okay, we're done now. And I was like, no, let's hang out for a while.
But in this industry, etiquette dictates that the executive always pays for the writers.
Anyone want to hear this story? We just, is this like, why are we doing this?
So finally, he, after going to the bathroom and leaving the check on the table when he went to the bathroom,
Trying to dine in cash.
he made it clear that it was a date by taking the check for to pay.
And then we lived happily ever after.
And then we lived happily ever after, and we got engaged.
One second. Is that on? Oh, yeah. Do you need rebuttal time reserved, or are you okay with that?
I got my thing in that I needed to say about that terrible story. Just telling it's completely inaccurate.
Well, it is really fun for us to hear the story of this movie, the story of sort of how you got this movie, and the story of how the two of you connected. It's been a fun ride to watch, both of you, and expect to see great things. I think as great as this chapter's been, it's going to pale in comparison to what you're going to do next. It's going to be really fun to watch. Let's hear for Scott,
Thank
for
you.
Lauren.
Thanks for coming.